Politics is a very, very interesting game. There are certain things which you would not imagine reading from Kipchumba Murkomen Twitter handle. But we are now reading them. Earlier today, this afternoon, Kipchumba Murkomen made some interesting post on his official Twitter handle. This is what Kipchumba Murkomen is saying. President Kenyatta is not supporting Raila Odinga. He is extending his reign by installing a puppet. Azimio is the special purpose vehicle, and the plan is to make Jubilee have at least 30 MPs. In the end, ODM will be the fourth largest party and won't even qualify to be the minority party. If you read between the lines what Kipchumba Murkomen is trying to say, let me just repeat. Kipchumba Murkomen is saying President Uhuru Kenyatta is not supporting Raila Odinga. That's definitely not true. We all know that the president is supporting Raila Amolo Odinga. The person we know President Uhuru Kenyatta is not supporting is his deputy. And we are unable to understand why he's not supporting a man he made the promise publicly to support. And it's also saying that he is extending his reign by installing a puppet. Now, from this tweet by Kipchumba Murkomen, I'm picking three things. I'm picking at least 6 things. The first thing I'm picking is the fact that Murkomen is alleging that Uhuru is not supporting Raila. The truth of the matter is that Uhuru will not support his deputy. And I opined severally that there was no ideological connection between William Ruto and President Uhuru Kenyatta. There is nothing which connected these two guys ideologically, apart from the Hague. So once the Hague issue was dispensed with, there was no way Uhuru and Ruto were going to stay. Their personalities are totally different. Uhuru anapenda pombe yake. Ruto doesn't drink. And Ruto brags about it. So it means after work, there was no place these guys were going to hang out. Ruto would just go to State House, have tea, work, then go home. Uhuru would go work, then in the evening enjoy. So there was no way these guys were connected. Even their backgrounds, the way they were raised, totally different. The other thing I'm getting is that Kipchumba Murkomen is alleging that Uhuru Kenyatta is planning to extend his stay in power. Constitutionally, President Uhuru Kenyatta cannot extend his stay in power. He's serving 5 years, he's going home. And we also know that in Africa and the world over, all presidents who've always attempted to extend their powers by installing cronies have always failed. So the idea of Uhuru extending his power, I don't think is neither here nor there. The truth of the matter is that President Uhuru Kenyatta is young. His term has come to an end, and therefore he would want to remain in control of his party, Jubilee Party. And Kipchumba Murkomen is also alleging that Uhuru Kenyatta is intending to install Raila as a puppet. I'll go into that. That's another question I'm going to ask. Do you think Raila Odinga can be President Uhuru Kenyatta's puppet? Then he's also saying that the Azimio movement is a special purpose vehicle. On that, I agree with him. For President Uhuru Kenyatta to defeat his deputy, because the deputy president has worked hard, has consolidated the ground, he needed a vehicle which can bring everybody together so that he can easily defeat his deputy. And that vehicle, in my view, is basically the Azimio movement. Azimio movement, the way it designed, and the way that political parties amendment act was passed in parliament, it is true. it is the vehicle which is going to be used to install Raila Amolo Odinga as the next president of the Republic of Kenya. And he's saying that Uhuru Kenyatta's intention is for Jubilee to have at least 30 members of parliament. Now, according to William Ruto and his brigades, Jubilee Party died. President Uhuru Kenyatta is currently reactivating Jubilee. And I also know for sure, and they've stated this severally, that their intention as Jubilee Party is to win as many gubernatorial seats as possible, as many senatorial seats as possible, and as many members of parliament as possible. So if you believe, if Kipchumba Murkomen can claim that Jubilee is planning to win at least 30, that is going to be good for Jubilee Party. Because by winning 30 members of parliament, it means they can still be a force after the next general election. So which means if Uhuru Kenyatta is planning post Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga is basically a transitional president, it would mean, if he's a transitional president, it means that if he will manage to have, let's say, 30 members of parliament in Jubilee, the other thing I know for sure is that President Uhuru Kenyatta is very keen on that party of Eugene Wamalwa in Western Kenya. If that party is also going to win, let's say, 10 or 20, that will be 50. And if he'll be able to convince them to work with him post Raila Odinga, then Uhuru Kenyatta would be advantaged. By that time, I'm sure Moses Kuria's party shall have also won 1, 2, or 3 seats down there in Central. And we are likely to witness Central Kenya winning several independent seats. So Uhuru Kenyatta intention basically, and this I agree with Kipchumba Murkomen, is to have as many members of parliament as possible. And that's why you are seeing rebellion, especially with the ODM supporters in the larger Western Kenya, because they think that Kenya is eating into their party. Uhuru Kenyatta is keen on that party. But the truth of the matter is that Raila Odinga is also keen on the presidency. So Raila Odinga would want also that DAP to be as strong as possible, ODM to be as strong as possible in the larger Western Kenya. And he's also saying that his intention is also to lock out ODM from being the minority. Let me assure you, if elections were to be held today, and ODM party ends up conducting a free, fair, and credible nominations, mark that. If elections were to be held in this country today, and ODM party is able to conduct a free, fair, and credible nominations in their strongholds, they'll still emerge as the single party with the highest number of elected MPs, senators, and governors. The only challenge for ODM party is if they're going to joke around with the nominations. If in Nyanza, for example, they are not going to allow ODM to conduct free and fair nominations, like locking out others, like for example in Siaya, in Homa Bay, where the gubernatorial seats and other seats are being contested bitterly. In the last election, ODM lost almost the entire seats in Kisii because they messed up the nomination. So I don't think Kipchumba Murkomen is right. In Kakamega, for example, ODM lost seats because the people who won the ticket ended up being denied. And these guys most of them ended up in a friendly party, ANC party, and those people won. But I don't think that's President Uhuru Kenyatta's game plan, to lock out ODM from becoming the minority. Because if they are going to rule the country, then the issue of minority is not coming up. If Kipchumba Murkomen tweet is true, and what I'm deducing from that tweet is that he believes that the president wants to extend his stay, and he's already identified a party, and he has also identified a puppet, which means Raila Odinga, according to Kipchumba Murkomen, is going to be installed as the president. So from that tweet again, there are several questions which can be asked. And I want to ask only 5 questions. You can choose which ones to answer. Do you think Raila Odinga can be President Uhuru Kenyatta's puppet? that Uhuru supports Raila Odinga, then Raila Odinga is declared the next president of the Republic of Kenya today. Then tomorrow, Uhuru will be sitting somewhere, gives him the list of cabinet to read. Yeah, Uhuru Kenyatta will be making the appointments from the back. Do you think Raila Odinga, after suffering the way he has suffered for this country, can be anybody's puppet? Yes or no answer. So that's the first question. The first question, which really is what is motivating Kipchumba Murkomen's tweet, is what really caused the fallout between the president and his deputy. Because according to Kipchumba Murkomen, he once told us that they started seeing these signs before the elections. Charles Keter was very clear last week that even if there were no handshake, Uhuru and Ruto's fallout was still going to happen. So which means Uhuru Kenyatta's original intention was not to have Raila Odinga as a puppet or to have Raila Odinga as a president. But there must have been some betrayal along the way which made him change his mind about supporting the DP. But the question is, what really caused the fallout between the president and his deputy? Number three, the third question, assuming today President Uhuru Kenyatta was still with the William Ruto and he was supporting Ruto, do you think Ruto would be viewed as a puppet by people like Kipchumba Murkomen? Or would Ruto have been President Uhuru Kenyatta's puppet? And why is it that it's only a puppet if that person is not William Ruto being supported by the president? So that's another question. My fourth question is, what is the expectation of Kipchumba Murkomen and his troops of Uhuru Kenyatta? Uhuru Kenyatta is the president. He has fallen out with this deputy. Do they expect the president to just sit there and watch his succession politics taking place? It can't happen. It can't. In fact, even Moi, if Moi was still alive today, he would issue the directive. And that's why he told Uhuru Kenyatta and he told his son not to allow Ruto near him. If he was alive, for example, Ruto would not have even attended his burial. But what is their expectation of the president? Do they want the president just to relax there, that he's fallen out with this deputy, and therefore he should let the DP fight it out or square it out with Raila or square it out with whoever? But my last question, is this a sign of Kipchumba Murkomen sensing defeat? My answer, Murkomen has sensed defeat. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.